Hi everyone, welcome to my channel Grow Bites. Today's recipe is opera cake. Opera cake is a classic French pastry that consists of layers of almond sponge cake soaked in coffee syrup, layered with coffee buttercream and ganache, and finished with a chocolate glaze. While the traditional recipe includes eggs, in this video we'll be making an eggless version of this elegant cake which is equally delectable. It's got a light and airy texture that just dissolves in your mouth. Overall, opera cake is a delightful dessert that's perfect for special occasions or as a treat for yourself. Its delicate texture and rich flavor are sure to impress anyone who tries it. So let's see how it's being prepared. So at first let's prepare the eggless sponge cake, and for this you need cake flour half cup, but if you do not have cake flour you can substitute with all-purpose flour, which is plain flour. Just use half cup of plain flour, remove 1 tablespoon of flour from it and instead add 1 tablespoon of corn flour. You also need almond flour 1 cup, yogurt which is thick curd, not too sour 1 cup, castor sugar which is superfine sugar half cup, unsalted butter melted 113 grams, baking soda half teaspoon, baking powder 1.5 teaspoons, almond extract a few drops, and salt a pinch. Now preheat your oven to 200 degrees Celsius, which is 390 degrees Fahrenheit. To a large bowl, add yogurt 1 cup along with castor sugar, which is superfine sugar half cup, and whisk well so that the yogurt and sugar are well blended. Now to this let's add baking soda half teaspoon, baking powder 1.5 teaspoons, salt a pinch, and give a good mix. And now we're going to set this mixture aside for just 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, to this let's add unsalted melted butter 113 grams along with almond flour 1 cup, and mix well so that all ingredients are well blended. Now to this let's add almond extract a few drops and cake flour half cup. Please check the substitute for cake flour shown above. Now using a spatula fold in gently so that the flour is well mixed in the batter. Do not overmix. So as you can see, our cake batter is ready. It's a thick batter. Now grease and line a sheet pan with baking paper as shown, and also grease the top of the baking paper with butter. So here I'm using a 26 by 36 centimeters sheet pan. Instead you can use 2 6-inch square pans as well, and transfer the batter onto the prepared pan and spread out evenly. Tap a few times and then bake in a preheated oven at 200 degrees Celsius, which is 390 degrees Fahrenheit, for about 10 to 12 minutes until the cake is well baked and toothpick inserted comes out clean. The baking time always depends on your oven, so do check after 8 to 9 minutes. So after 12 minutes of baking time, the cake is well baked as you can see. And now we're going to allow the cake to cool in the pan itself, so keep this aside. Meanwhile the cake is cooling, let's prepare the coffee syrup, and for this you need coffee powder, instant coffee powder 1.5 tablespoons, sugar 2 tablespoons, and hot water half cup. So to a bowl add coffee powder, sugar, and half cup of hot water and mix well so that the coffee and sugar are well dissolved. And now let's keep this aside to cool completely. Now let's prepare the coffee buttercream, and for this you need unsalted butter softened at room temperature 170 grams, coffee powder, instant coffee powder 1.5 to 2 teaspoons, sweetened condensed milk which is chilled 100 grams. So at first to a bowl add softened unsalted butter 170 grams and beat well until the butter is light and fluffy. It takes 1 to 2 minutes. And now to this, let's add coffee powder, 1.5 teaspoons, along with chilled sweetened condensed milk, 100 grams, and beat well until smooth and silky. So at this stage, if you think the coffee flavor is not that prominent, you can add another 1.5 teaspoons of the coffee powder and beat well. So our coffee buttercream is now ready. Keep this refrigerated until use. Now let's prepare the chocolate ganache. So for this you need heavy whipping cream, 120 grams, dark chocolate, 120 grams. You need equal amounts of cream and dark chocolate. So we need to heat the heavy cream just to a boil. Do not boil the cream. You can either use a microwave or on a stove top. And to this, let's add the chocolate and whisk well to get a smooth and shiny mixture, and allow the ganache to cool completely before we use. And now let's start assembling the cake. So the sponge is cooled well, and I've transferred from the pan onto a baking paper and cut into 3 long pieces as shown. It's okay if the layers break. You can just join them when you fill with buttercream and ganache. And now transfer one layer onto your work surface and moisten with coffee syrup as shown, and then spread half of the buttercream evenly on top of that cake layer. Spread it out evenly using an offset spatula. Then top it with the second layer, moisten with coffee syrup as before. And now onto this layer, we'll be spreading the chocolate ganache evenly. Reserve some ganache to pipe in the end. And finally, the last layer, place it on top of the ganache and then moisten with coffee syrup and spread the remaining coffee buttercream evenly on top. So now we have completed layering the cake, and we're going to refrigerate this for at least 1 hour for the cake to set completely. But if you're keeping in the freezer, just keep it for 20 to 25 minutes. So meanwhile the cake is setting, let's prepare the chocolate glaze. So for this you need dark chocolate, 130 grams, any neutral flavored oil, 1.5 tablespoons. And now you need to melt the chocolate. You can either use a double boiler method or you can do it in the microwave, and just make sure the chocolate is melted and it's very smooth. Now to this, let's add 1.5 tablespoons of any neutral flavored vegetable oil. Give a good mix. Adding oil gives a, that shiny finish for the glaze, and set aside to cool. Now let's move on to our final stage. So remove the cake from the refrigerator, it's well set. And now carefully pour the chocolate glaze over the cake and just spread it out very lightly as shown. And now put the cake back in the refrigerator so that the glaze is well set for about 30 minutes. So after 30 minutes, the cake is well set, as you can see. Now trim off the edges and then evenly slice the cake as shown and transfer to a serving plate. And now with the reserved ganache, pipe opera over the glazed cake slices. So a sweet and delicious opera cake is now ready to serve. Keep the cake refrigerated at all times when not in use. It's definitely a delightful dessert that's perfect for special occasions or as a treat for yourself. So do give it a try. I hope you all enjoyed today's video. Also, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please subscribe, like and share. New videos are uploaded every Tuesday and Friday. Until then, goodbye.